Welcome back to episode 18 of the Peasant Militia Challenge. I've done a little bit off camera just to make sure we didn't waste too much time on this episode. Got everyone with their armor upgrades, and our main Kraken killer is ready. He's got everything he needs, and at maximum fatigue is 36, which he'll work with it. But yeah, so our main goal is to quickly get our money back, sell what we have, and go fight the Kraken. It's Kraken fighting time. Peasants versus Krakens. Let's see how we go. Got enough money to keep us alive on the road, out in the wilderness. Food is highly appreciated. Sell everything we don't need, which is a lot. A lot of attachments we don't need at the moment. All these attachments are pretty useless. That's useless. And we'll hold other stuff just in case, but most likely we won't use them. We probably don't need the Banshee Essence. Take some of the bread. And ammunition we are doing good at. Tools we could use a little bit more. We did salvage a lot, but then we also did use a lot to prepare from the last Necro Savant fights. So, let's see. Nothing else we desperately need. So we'll quickly head south, as I am still wanting to get that Lionheart potion for us. It'll be a very nice addition to our fight. Also, need to pass the time somehow. Very good. A little bit of XP. And that should be good for the moment. Can't think of much else we need. Trying to think if I've forgotten anything. We have all the weapons we need. Ooh, a flail would be nice. Yeah, we'll grab that because we're going to need that for a later fight. Especially for this dude. Sweet, he's now kitted out properly. I don't think that's the best flail in the game, but I think it's the second best flail. But I could be wrong. Regardless, that keeps him set up, and everyone else looks pretty good. Let's go find, quickly, a taxidermist would be really nice as well. Do you have a taxidermist? Oh, he does. Sweet. So quickly go to Tarwa, because they have an alchemist. Hopefully they have the potion we want. Initiative and Night Owl. We don't care about Night Owl, and we already have the initiative one. Dang it. No one has injuries. Let's risk it and just go west. Bunch of orcs hanging out at the moment. I think the endgame criteria was nobles? I have totally forgotten by this point. Anyways, taxidermist, can you make a... Oh, you actually can't. We don't have enough items. That's fine. Not like we needed it. It just would have been nice. There it is! Yes! Lionheart potion. Lucky. And do we need the potion of knowledge? Not really, since we're just going for 2 endgame fights. I mean, it would be interesting to give it to him, to see if he can get another level, but it wouldn't give him anything special, so we'll just not do it. Yep, so we have the Second Wind Potion, Lionheart Potion, Iron Will, Cat Potion, and we are not going to give him mushrooms. That is a horrible idea. Mushrooms is for later, for the other fight. Okay, any last minute things? We have food? Oh, we need tools. My goodness, we are running out. Lucky there's a good price here. Food, 7 more days, 8 more days, 11. Just to be safe, we'll buy the cheese, because it lasts a little bit longer. Anyways, let's go. I have to remember where the Kraken is. I keep forgetting. It's somewhere here in the middle. There it is. Stone pillars. Now let's not get ambushed whilst we're heading out. Because we're not in the mood to fight too much else. We are in orc territory. Okay, it's just orc hunters. They're usually not too bad. While heading towards your destination, he's got a bundle of herbs. No. We'll not try a risk on that. Not this late in the game. Okay, so what we're going to do is... The trick to having the fight that we want is we're going to have a solo Kraken fight. So we're just going to get Aldebert to fight the Kraken by himself. It's going to work with the Goblin Trophy, making him immune to being grabbed by the Tentacles. He's going to have a great shield, which is amazing. He's going to break the head armor with his amazing pole hammer. And then once the head armor is broken, he can whip him down and bleed him to death. Because he does horrible damage, but the bleed of 20 per turn is going to be amazing. And he's got so much armor, Battle Forged to 68%, has a chance of being confident. Now, he's not super happy, so the chances of him being confident at the start of the fight isn't amazing. But I didn't want to get him drunk and risk it. But there's a 10% chance that it boosts his morale at the start, so we could get lucky. Now, the most important thing to do now is to save, because I don't want to screw this up. There we go. And I was right. We did need that save. Unfortunately, we got unlucky with that Kraken fight and had to restart. I didn't kill the Tentacles quickly enough and didn't get confident early on, so I'm going to change that a little bit up. We have to really make use of this Assured Conquest for this guy, because his stats aren't the best, as you can see. 37 defense, 87 attack. I mean, that's good stats, but he definitely needs that Assured Conquest to make him better. So I've got a strategy for that, and I'll explain it as we go. Now, before we start, we have to get back into what we needed to do before the fight, which is making sure we get all these potions. And I highly recommend these 3 potions, the Iron Will, the Enhanced Bravery, and Enhanced Stamina. The Heightened Reflexes is just an extra potion we can bring along. It's not the most important potion in the game. I really don't know when it's actually good. Unless you get it for, like, free, don't buy that potion. But for the Kraken fight, every potion you can get is a benefit in some way or another. Anyways, because of all our potion and being a drug addict, we need him to be cured of his sickness before he goes into battle. Because that's a lot of problems when you get sick. So for 4 medicines, we'll do it. Takes 4 hours, but if we assign people, we can make it take 1 hour. And now he's treated super quick. So then we just waste some time. It's a lot quicker when you waste time on 4 times speed than it does whilst camping, because camping is only at 2 times speed. Let's see if is he good again? Nope, he's still sick, so he wants another day. Gotta be difficult, bud. We're only jacking you up to fight a gigantic monster, that's all. Nothing fancy. Okay, let's check now, and he should be good. Yep, he's good. Sweet. Now, before we go in, and before I forget, we've got to make sure everybody is on reserve fighting status, except for our main guy. Now, in the real game, in the base game, I mean, not the real game, this is still a real game. In the base game, when you want somebody not to fight, you put them in the back ranks, because that is the reserve row. But in Legends mod, you have to click this little button instead. It's a little bit hidden, but once you know where it is, you'll hopefully never forget it, even though I keep forgetting that. But yeah, so now that everybody's in reserves, we have one guy fighting, and that affects most fights, including the Kraken fight, which is very nice. But a lot of other fights in the game don't allow you to have reserves, so be wary of that. Okay, have I forgotten anything? We've got our potions in, we've got everything set up with his armor, we've got the right fatigue, we've got everyone in reserve. Let's go! We give her the last dust, and she gives us a fight with a Kraken. What a lovely lady. Welcome to the Kraken fight. Welcome to the swamps. Unfortunately, the Kraken fight is always in the swamps, and there's really nothing we can do about it. First part of the fight is step 1, find a piece of grass. But it has to be a piece of grass near the Kraken's head, where, if these tentacles get out of my way, there we go. We can see the grass near the head is possibly here. That's a good spot. Right next to him is a very bad spot. Now, for those of you who don't know, the Kraken will instantly kill anybody next to him. Next to him, like one tile exactly next to him. And the Kraken doesn't move his head. So it'll only ever be... If I can put the tiles on, that helps a little bit. Only it's those 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tiles that are ever a problem for us. Can we go there? Sweet. Nice, that's a good spot. We've got a good map generation this time. If you don't get any grass near the head, reset your map. I highly recommend it. You cannot win this fight if you don't have grass near this head. Actually, that's maybe not the best grass spot. Huh. Interesting. This grass spot is technically better. I know it's 3 tiles away, but that works for the whip. We'll do this grass tile for the pole arm, and then wander over here for the whip. It's not the most efficient way of doing things, but we might as well. You really want a lot of water on your map to help against the tentacles. Because the negative defense and skill with the water affects the tentacles, even though the Kraken lives in the swamp and you'd think he'd be immune. But, you know, he's not. Anyways, this strategy is very efficient. It works with most brothers. You just really want high defense and a lot of good perks, things like Lone Wolf and all that. Unfortunately, we're on a Peasant Militia run, so we didn't get Lone Wolf and any other really amazing perks. And we're working with what we have. But shout out to Filthy Robot and his channel, because this is based off of his guide to doing the 1v1 versus Kraken. Just slightly improvised for the legendary, the Legends mod. But back to it, we've got we've got 2 stages of the fight. Stage 1 is this nice little quiet, nothing really happening fight, where the tentacles don't actually attack you, and the head, as long as you don't literally walk next to him, the head does not bother you at all, because he can't move. Phase 2 of the fight is very different. It's where all these tentacles will awaken up and attack us, and will kill you if you're not careful and get too many attacks that are lucky 5%ers on you. So, phase 1 is us preparing for phase 2. That's just basically it. And fortunately for us, phase 1 lasts as long as the head is above 50% health. 4,400 health is a lot, and half health is 2,200, so it's kind of hard to accidentally go to phase 2 when you're not really wanting to. If you kill too many tentacles early on, it does actually activate phase 2. So don't accidentally kill too many tentacles. And don't get him to 2,200 health before you're ready. So the way that we get ready for phase 2 is we, 1, find our patches of grass. 2, we break all the armor on the head because we're using a whip build. And the whip will break if it goes against armor, so we don't want that to happen. We want to attack from a range, so the range we're attacking from keeps our weapons safe. And keeps us safe away from the head to eat us, because he'll eat us if we walk next to him. Okay, so step 2 is now done. Step 1, find your grass. Step 2, break the armor. Step 3 is weakening the tentacles. There's an optional step 3, which I highly recommend, is making sure your character, or your brother, is confident. Now, we aren't. We are not confident at all, because we didn't get any happy powder, and we didn't get any lucky rolls on his confidence coming into this fight. So we have to kill 1 or 2 tentacles to get his confidence up. And that will help us immensely in this fight because of the way we've built him. Because he didn't have Lone Wolf, we had to go for Assured Conquest to give him a 10% increase instead of the Lone Wolf's 15%. So we're a bit weak, but if we get confident, we're going to be very useful. So we are now in our favorite spot, within reach of the Kraken's head and within reach of all these tentacles. And fortunately, everything except for the tile next to us is water, which means we're going to hit all the enemies a lot easier. Now we can retire this polehammer, because we're not going to do enough damage with the polehammer compared to the whip, especially since our character is tiny and has less melee damage. So that puts us behind a little bit. But as I said before, this stage of the fight, stage 1, phase 1, is just a walk in the park. As long as you don't kill too many tentacles, don't walk next to the head, nothing happens to you. And that is all thanks to the goblin necklace that we farmed up in this run. Because the tentacles only have 2 options at the beginning of the fight, and that's to move, which is really annoying because that's all they ever do, and to grapple you, to try and pull you into the head to be eaten. Now, since we have the necklace, they can't grapple us. The grappling is counted like the goblin shaman when they entangle you. So you sort of think of it like that. And since they can't do that, they're just going to wander around. And since the only activation for phase 2 is either hurting the head to 50% or killing too many tentacles, as long as you don't do that, this can be going on forever. You can go like thousands of turns, and the fight will not progress. And you will not be in any danger. So we're taking full advantage of that in order to prepare for that annoying phase 2. Now, as you've noticed already a couple of times, these tentacles will go invisible. And that is a glitch with the Legends mod. It's not an important glitch. That goes down to 23. Okay, we'll go for the kill. It's not an important glitch because you can still hit them. It's just a little tricky because you can't see where they are, and you have to highlight them with your whip skill. But that's okay. Just remember that sometimes they can go invisible if you're hitting them too much. Now, moving on from that, we got our first tentacle kill. It did not activate phase 2. You have to kill at least like 4 of them in order to activate phase 2 by accident. So don't worry about 1 or 2 tentacle kills if you do it by accident or whatever. So we finally got our confidence, which is good. And now we're hitting on 87s instead of the usual 69s. So yeah, we're really happy with that bonus increase, and that will help us for the rest of the fight. The other thing you may have noticed is when we killed our first tentacle, the head reeled in pain. And for those number junkies out there, you'll notice that we killed the 306 health tentacle, and that translated to 190 damage to the head. So you might be thinking, why are we weakening the tentacles so much to only do 190 damage to the head? That goes down to 21. Dang it. 21's good, but you can get better than that. Okay, back to what I was saying. Why are we damaging tentacles if doing 300 damage converts to 190? Now, the reason for that is we're not getting attacked in this phase, so we can do anything we want to prepare. And by weakening all these tentacles to a one-hit, when we get to the crucial phase 2 where the tentacles will attack us, if we can wipe them out quickly, then the Kraken can't spawn them quick enough back. So he's only ever going to have a maximum of 8 on the field at once. 9 because there's 1 head and 8 tentacles. So if we can kill like 8 of them within a few turns, that will allow us to reduce the number of attacks on us every single turn, reduce the chances of the Kraken hitting those 5%ers or whatever on our shield, and allow us to kill the boss quicker. Now, the reason why it allows us to kill the boss quicker as well is because we can do 2200 damage to his face without him reacting or doing anything to us. So think of it as a freebie. In this beginning half of the fight, you get to do almost 300 damage to all tentacles, all 8 tentacles, and you get to do 2200 damage to the face for free. No strings attached. And to be able to do free damage is just something in Battle Brothers is just wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. Especially in a hard endgame fight like this. So, once we've done all our free damage, we're going to push on to phase 2. And then phase 2 is basically a DPS race. And that DPS race is basically kill the tentacles as quickly as possible. And if you do the math, 8 tentacles at 190 damage to the head each is pretty significant. Pretty significant indeed. Once that chunk of damage gets done to the head, we then DPS the boss as quickly as possible. And before he kills us, basically. That's the strategy. Because if he kills us, then we lose, of course. But this fight is really tedious and boring, so I apologize in advance. If you want to skip to different parts of the fight, go for it. But I'll be sitting here dealing as much damage to these tentacles as possible to get them down to a juicy, easy to kill number. And going through all the phases of the fight. So hopefully this helps you with your fight when you come into a Kraken fight. I don't recommend taking this fight. It's not really beneficial in any run that you want to do. Unless you want to do like challenge runs. That goes down to 34. Ugh, I don't like 34. Probably should have put out the shield earlier. What we can do, if we want to narrow down health as best as possible, we can put out our shield to reduce our damage, because if you use double grip, it increases your damage, and if you put the shield out, it decreases it. So yeah, you just want to keep playing around with numbers, and I think we're going to kill him on accident. Yep, barely. Oh. Okay, so we accidentally killed another tentacle. It's not the end of the world. We still have a couple of mistakes up our sleeve with unlucky RNG, and that'll happen every now and again. Just focus on getting these tentacles as low as possible. Getting them down to 12 damage, I believe. If you got a person who's not tiny, your numbers are going to be slightly different. Going to be around about 15 damage. Because we have a tiny person, we want to get 12 damage and under on their health. That is the most ideal situation possible. 32 damage and under is the second most ideal situation, where the tentacles will die to the bleed. Unfortunately, that still lets the tentacle attack you before it dies, so that's one extra attack against your shield, one extra chance for them to kill you, so you know, you want to minimize that as much as possible, especially in a situation when you're using a weaker character like ours. But yeah, crunching the numbers helps a little bit. So we know that 51 is our maximum damage without a shield. 45 is our maximum with a shield. So we're going to go to our shield now. And hope we don't max roll. And luckily we didn't. He's down to 10 health. Sweet. That's below our 12 health threshold, and that means he's a guaranteed 1 hit. So that tentacle is perfectly prepared for phase 2. And now we just have to do the rest of them. That's the fun part of it. Yeah, 12 to 25 with 2 stacks of bleeds. Now, the sad part about this fight is that the tentacles all have resilience, and the Kraken head has resilience. So the bleeds don't work as well as you'd want them to, and they don't stay on the target as often as you want them to. It's just, yeah. It's the way Battle Brothers is. But still, in my honest opinion, the bleeding whip sort of build is better than going with a polearm build. I just feel as though it is a little bit more reliable. Especially since you can use a shield with a one-handed weapon to protect against phase 2. If you were doing this with a full party of brothers, it would be a completely different fight. This 1v1 style fight against an endgame legendary boss is only made possible because of the amazing necklace that we got from the goblins. There's just nothing else about it. Down to 20 health, that's good. Wish it was a little bit lower, but that's okay. Sometimes you just can't get super lucky. Sometimes you can get super lucky, like 2 health. So learn to live with some of the unlucky RNGs with it. But yeah, this is one of the ideal sort of maps, having a piece of grass with water all around. You're not always going to get this great of a start, and even with this great of a start, we still might not succeed. This is our second attempt as far as I remember, so we are hopefully going to succeed this time. Yeah, we'll just go for that one. And it just depends on your map, it depends on your RNG. And because these tentacles are teleporting around like necrosavants, and it's not just because of that, they don't actually have zone of control. So if you need to run past them to retreat and reset the map, there's nothing stopping you, as long as you don't end your turn next to the head, obviously. You can easily reset this map as many times as you want to get the perfect position in order to kill the Kraken. So I highly recommend either save scumming it with the autosave or resetting your map, because this fight is completely imbalanced and not fair in any situation. So please do your best to try and get the best start possible for your run. That goes down to 45, so we need to switch out the shield so we don't accidentally kill him. But yeah, the prep phase of this fight is the most important thing to get right. And the second phase of this fight is the most important to get lucky on. One other thing you might be noticing whilst we're killing these tentacles, not killing, whilst we are lowering the health of these tentacles, is you might notice that they had little lights above their heads, and now they're gone. The light above their heads just indicates whether they're above half health or below half health. It's just simple as that, and it's not the most helpful thing in the world. But it does help you notify if there's a brand new tentacle that has spawned. Now, I don't like 38, and I don't like 43, so I'm going to put our shield on and try and get lucky by not killing them and putting them to a lower health. So let's go for the 43. Got him down to 2 health. Perfect. Good thing we didn't max roll. Now let's hope we roll nice and low for the next one, to get him also down to like 2 health. It's going to be amazing if we do. But yeah, so far we've done step 1, find your grass. Step 2, break the armor on the head. Step 3, we are almost completely done. Annoyingly, the tentacles will hide in the bushes sometimes, so being 2 spaces away from a bush doesn't let you see in the bush, so that's annoying. So we're not going to waste our time, we're just going to go and hit the head just a little bit, as we're going to have to do that eventually. until the guy pops up that we really want to find. Which is... He's not here. He's hiding in a bush again. Okay. We'll find him eventually. But yeah, sometimes you get too many bushes, sometimes you don't get enough. It just really depends on the map. One other little thing you might be noticing is the Kraken is now wavering, which you might think is a good thing, but in all honesty, it actually doesn't do anything to the fight. There's no morale checks that make a difference in this fight other than your own. So as you can see, the Tentacles don't get ever morale checks. The Kraken does, but it doesn't affect him in any way other than making him slightly easier to hit, even though we're already rolling on 95s to hit him. Because it's slightly easier to hit him than it is these guys. He's got negative defense. But the Kraken can't actually properly flee. There's the 38. And we killed him. Dang it. Rolled too high. Did not expect to do that. Okay, so we killed him, did another bunch of damage to the head, and a new one spawns, as you can see, with a light on his head. So it does help to notice when the light's on, shows you where the new ones are, and that's fine. Now, you might be asking, why kill the Tentacles if they just spawn immediately? And they don't always spawn immediately. If you kill a bunch of them quickly, it will take time for them to respawn. So, our goal is to thin the numbers, not to get rid of them completely, because it will not be possible. But sorry, back to what I was saying about the Kraken's morale checks. We got him down to 30. I think we have to live with it. Yeah, we have to live with the 30. I'm not going to risk killing him on accident. Okay, yeah. Kraken's morale checks. He'll eventually get to a fleeing state. And because he can't move, he doesn't flee. And it doesn't break the battle because the Tentacles can't flee. But the way the game compensates for it is the Kraken will automatically rally every time he flees at the beginning of his turn. So you just don't ever have to worry about morale. You just have to make sure you're confident the entire time, and you're going to be sweet. But as you can see, it is such a long fight. We're already 73 turns in, and he's not even half health yet. So yeah, kick back, relax, get some popcorn, and just be patient with this fight. Setting it up, very important, and then playing the last phase is also very important too. Lucky for us, though, the head has a little bit of an easier time to die than the Tentacles, especially when we hit phase 2. So you'll see what happens when we get there. Have I been forgetting anything? We've done step 1, find the grass. Step 2, all the Tentacles. Step 2 is break the head armor. Step 3 was weaken the Tentacles. Step 4 is bring yourself almost to phase 2. You don't want to activate phase 2 at 2200 health. But you want to activate it by killing the Tentacles instead. It's not like you can avoid phase 2, sadly. But by killing off Tentacles, it does 190 health to his face. So that's the way you can start the next phase of the fight. I'm gonna get dizzy, there's so many Tentacles constantly moving around. It's very hard to keep track of the Tentacles, so it's very good to double check that all 8 of them are within vision, and all 8 of them are nice and super low before you start. So that's only 6 of them, so there's 2 of them hiding here. But I did double check. These guys are all ready for us to kill them. I'm not too keen on the 30 health and the 32, I think there was? No, the 21. The 21 and the 30. Because there's a chance that the 21 might not die on the first hit, but it will die to the bleed 100%, so we'll kill him in one hit. He just gets a free hit on us. But the 30 definitely will only have to die to the bleed. Sadly. But that's how it is. Now, make sure you don't accidentally push him into phase 2 right away. So I think he can take 2 more rounds of hits. Yeah, because you do about 80 to 100 damage with your whip every turn, which is very nice. So once it's at 2350, you can do 1 more round of double hits. And that puts him down to 2266, and then maybe down to 2246? If my math is correct this time. Which is just outside the range of 2203, which is the half health. So now that we've got him ready, we will equip our shield so we get ready for phase 2. And instead of killing a tentacle to start phase 2, we end our turn, because we don't want to waste a turn just equipping the shield. We've got all the time in the world in phase 1. There's no rush. We can just skip as many turns as we need to for the things we need to get done. So now that we're at full action points, with our shield out, with confidence, with everybody nice and low, with the Kraken just about to break, which is nice, but not the most important thing in the world. But the most important thing is that he's just above the health threshold. Right now, we can start phase 2. So phase 2, okay, so we've done step 1, get your grass. Step 2, break the helmet down. Step 3, get everybody low on the map, except for the head. Step 4, bring him to just above phase 2, half health. Step 5, kill all the tentacles as quickly as possible. Pray that your RNG works and that you do not miss a hit in the water. If you have a better character than us, you'll get it 95%. And I pray and hope that you guys get better characters than this guy. He's not as good as he could be. If he had Lone Wolf, he would be perfect. But sadly, he doesn't. So we just have to live with it. But yeah, so step 5, I think I just said it was. Kill the tentacles. So we're going to go for the easy ones to kill first. The 30 health ones will take a little bit longer to kill. So we're going to kill the ones that are instant one-shot. So let's go. Okay, we missed. Now, that's a sign that because we don't have full action points to start phase 2, finish your turn. Don't let the RNG screw you over. If you miss your first hit to start phase 2, finish your turn. Try again. Rolling a 90 is horrible. But luckily, we rolled it before phase 2 started. Now let's hope we don't roll any more 90s. Now we can start phase 2 if we get this hit. Okay, we didn't get the hit. Luckily, we're getting our bad RNG out immediately, early on. So, we end our turn. Come on, we gotta get the RNG right this time. We gotta start this phase 2 eventually. But at least we're not starting on a bad foot. That's the most important thing. You want to have the best chance to beat phase 2. Okay, I'm gonna state again. Now we start phase 2. Can you stop? Man? 90, 98, 98. Okay. Welcome to RNG in Battle Brothers. But once again, I'm really happy that we're screwing up in phase 1. Phase 1 is the best place to make mistakes. Phase 2 is the worst place to make mistakes. Okay, for the 4th time, let's start phase 2. Good. We finally hit. Now, I am wrong as usual. It's 175 damage to the head, so that's why my math is off. It says it right here. Every tentacle kill is 175 damage to the head, not 190. But here we go. Okay, so phase 2 has started. He screams, not the worst thing in the world. All the tentacles wake up. And now they're going to attack us every turn. We killed a tentacle, but as you can see, there are still 8 tentacles on the field. That's because after the first tentacle you kill, the first one spawns back immediately. The second one will not spawn back immediately. So you're going to have to keep killing these tentacles. And you're going to have to dodge all of these shots. And since our guy is a bit weak... Oh, he is getting 5% on him. That's good. I was worried if one of them is on the grass, they're going to roll higher than 5%. Now, we dodged all the attacks in the first set of attacks. There are 7 tentacles on the field. We now go for 2 more kills. And now there are 6 tentacles on the field because a new one has spawned. So the ones with the lights on their head, easy to recognize which ones are the brand new ones that you should not attack. From now on, you ignore the ones with the lights on their heads completely. Okay, we missed the killing potential by 1 health. And we missed another 87%. That's not good. We don't want to have bad RNG this late. But it's not the end of the world. We still have 3 tentacles to kill. Gonna die to the bleed. Good. Gonna die to the bleed. Sweet. Okay, so this is our last tentacle to kill. There are 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 1 hidden one, but I do believe it's a fresh one. If I'm wrong, then we just kill him. The Kraken head has taken a lot of damage. We left him at 2200. He's now at 900. Now that all of our tentacles are killed, all we need to do is DPS race this boss. And that's it. Hopefully you don't get any 5% hit on you, and you can win. That's the main goal. The fact that all these tentacles are in the water make the biggest difference. If these tentacles were on land, our guy does not have the defense to protect against 5%. So we're just versing 4 tentacles at the moment, and now you can see the most beneficial reason as to why we killed off tentacles instead of just fought the Kraken in a DPS race, because we would be taking 8 tentacle hits a turn instead of just the 4. Now, one other amazing thing you desperately need in this fight is bone plating, because we got an unlucky 2% against us, and we absorbed the entire hit by bone plating. Absolutely amazing. So please get bone plating before you get into this fight. It's not the most important thing, but it really saves you from an unlucky hit. 600 health to go. Fortunately, all of these guys are still sitting in the water to try and attack us, and none of them have come to this mighty earth patch to get a better chance to hit us. The AI for the tentacles is random when it comes to teleporting, so they're not going to try and find the best place to attack you from. It's just going to be random. $300 health to go, and it's still just 4 tentacles. This is the most ideal situation to have. Our shield is taking a beating, as you can see, but luckily, since we broke as many tentacles as possible, we still can hold on to our shield for a little bit longer. I'd recommend using a tower shield, but since our guy's got crappy defense, we needed our famed shield to be better than a tower shield to have the 29 defense instead of 25. Now, 100 health to go, and we've almost made it. We just need to make sure we don't get unlucky hits on us. 40 health, 1 more turn, and we've got this in the bag. Now, you will not win the Kraken every single time. It is hard. Praise the Lord we got our fight down, and thank you so much. We got this win with Aldebert. Good job, man. Definitely needed it. We got the loot, which is pretty crappy. It's just 2 horned plates and a tentacle, but it was well worth it to unlock the next legendary fight. Show us what's been found. Yes, we find a new place. And we get the sword blade. And now we also unlock new tentacle fights, Kraken fights around the world. So unfortunately, the Kraken is a gateway fight in Battle Brothers. So you cannot access the watermill fight, which is what we're doing next episode. The watermill fight, which is another legendary fight. And you cannot access more Kraken farming fights, because you can find more Krakens in the wild. I don't know why you'd want to fight them more, because they're a pain in the butt to kill, as you've seen here. And also because this was our second attempt off camera, because we've really had the unlucky last attempt with the shield breaking and the Kraken's tentacles not dying quick enough. But yeah, if you need to save scum this fight, do it. It's just painful. But this fight unlocks watermill and random Krakens available around the map. So there's going to be more places that can spawn. You can't see them immediately unless you find them. But yeah, that's the rewards from that. If you go into your crafting tent, where is it? It'll be in here somewhere. There is a Kraken shield you can make, and horn plate, here we are. You can use this attachment to reduce any melee damage to the body by 10%. That's pretty crappy. It's not worth it at all. Bone plating and all sorts of other attachments are so much better than that. The other Kraken one, like I said, was the shield, which is hiding from me at the moment. Heater shields, Kraken shield, here we are. The Kraken shield is pretty crappy. That's weaker than a tower shield. But it has less fatigue. But regardless, if you want a good shield, just go hunt lindworms. Like, that's a nice shield. That's an amazing shield. I think that's one of the best shields in the game, in my opinion. The Living Greenwood Tree Shield. And the Living Tree Shield itself is pretty crappy, but it does regenerate health. So, I mean, it's not bad. But if you want a great shield, go hunt Shrats. Go hunt lindworms. Don't hunt Krakens for a shield. Just buy a tower shield in the Legends mod. Tower shields are so much better. Anyways, that was the Kraken fight. And that was the reward from it, sadly. But the most important thing is we're going for the legendary sword next episode to get the windmill fight legendary electric sword. But yeah, back to the stats again, if we didn't go over them earlier. We got 87 melee skill, 37 base defense, 75 base health, and 62 base resolve with the added arena fighter. Unfortunately with Tiny, but it did give us the better defense, and the perks that we had were not optimal. I'd recommend going with Lone Wolf, definitely getting Assured Conquest. Resilient is nice to have, because when the tentacles do hit you, I didn't get to showcase it in this one, because I have it off camera. When the tentacles hit you, they actually pierce 50% of your armor, which is really, really bad. So going in with a Battleforged unit is the worst thing to do. Sadly, this was our best person, and luckily he won the second time round. But going in with someone with a Nimble is what you desperately need in this fight. You do not need the heaviest armor in the world, you need the best Nimble in the world. Down to 40% if possible. 59 is not efficient. So go in with a Nimble Brother, go in with Assured Conquest, go in with Lone Wolf, get your Shield Expert, get your Cleaver Mastery. I do not believe Underdog makes a difference, because the tentacles are attacking at a range, so I don't think they benefit from Underdog. Unless they're like standing next to you, but I still don't think it makes a big difference. You desperately need Rebound, and you desperately need all the potions that we had at the beginning of the fight. Quick Hands isn't a desperate need, it's nice, but you don't desperately need Quick Hands, because the only time you're switching weapons is in Phase 1, when it's basically casual hour. So you don't need that. Gifted is great, give you the extra points. Pathfinder isn't desperate, but it is nice to have to wander around the map searching for your favorite spots through the swamp. I'd recommend Fortified Mind's pretty good. You want a nice amount of resolve to get that confidence early on. Other than that, just get as many defensive perks as you can. Things like Steel Brow is nice. I can't think of too many others that are super amazing, especially on this character. Born with a Board's useless. Maybe Full Force, or things that increase your damage. Double Strike, maybe? Get a little of extra damage on your second hit every turn, or every second turn. Trying to see if any of these characters have anything super fancy that's useful. Duelist doesn't make a difference at all in the fight. Clarity is nice, but you don't desperately need it either. Backstabber is useless. 9 lives is completely useless, except for the fact that 9 lives saves you if a tentacle gets lucky hits on you. So still, don't discard 9 lives. 9 lives is useless against the head, but against tentacles, it is actually super valuable. It'll stop the bleeds from the tentacles, because they bleed you, they hit 50% through your armor. Definitely grab a 9 lives. He did not, so he wouldn't have been unlucky. Get yourself bone plating. If you don't get bone plating, I recommend getting the other attachment with the white fur that reduces damage to your health through your armor. It's like a nimble style attachment. I've totally forgot the name of it though. It's like padded armor attachment. We've used it in other seasons. It's super useful. Additional fur padding, that's right. It's one of my favorite attachments. It's just basically a free baby nimble. And I think it's most valuable in most situations. But yeah, the bone plating, such a good attachment. And yeah, that's basically the fight. Do restart it whenever you need to, because it is tricky. I had to restart it. But yeah, work on a nimble brother, and it's good to work on them in the beginning of the game if you find a really good brother that you know has everything you need. Build him up, get him ready for a Kraken fight, and just try your best. I don't recommend taking this fight often. Maybe do it once for a tryout. But yeah, it's a tricky fight. If you don't have enough defense for them to hit 5% on you every turn, especially when they're in the water, it's not worth it. The last time I fought this guy was when he was hitting 11% on me, and that's just way too often for the tentacles to hit you, and that's why we lost. Tentacles not in the water, 5% against us, goes to 11%, 14% I think at one point as well. It's just too high a chance for Battle Brothers to screw you over with percentages. So yeah, that's pretty much the fight. I really hope you enjoyed this episode of the crazy endgame fight that is the Kraken. I hope you're keen for next episode, which we're going to do the watermill fight. And that fight is 100% different, and we're going to use the whole party. Going to fight some undead, and get ourselves a legendary weapon. So, thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Catches.